Welcome into 5 Wide Fantasy. Today's video, a little negative for you. 4 running backs that you should not be drafting if you're drafting this week. If you're drafting next week, I had 2 of my drafts yesterday. Went really wide receiver heavy, feeling fantastic.
Yeah.
So running backs, there's probably some early guys that, I know these are early guys that I'll be telling you to avoid. I don't know if you're on the same, are you on the same page with your 2? Like relatively
Ish.
early?
One of them is in the running back 2 range, and the other one is
both are mine. Both of mine are running back 2s. Okay. But if you guys haven't entered the giveaway, I mean,
it's coming to a close soon. So
I guess you don't want $100 of site credit.
And
you don't want a free jersey,
which is ludicrous.
That's up to you. But Lightning Lineups is live in the lobby for both MLB and NFL. If you haven't heard about it, allow me to tell you about it. Run the tape. The most electric way to play fantasy sports this season. Lightning Lineups presents you with 3 teams of 3 players. Find the trio you think will score the most fantasy points, or spin the wheel to generate a new matchup. Love your lineup? Add more opponents to increase your payout. Submit your entry for free and make your way to the pay zone. Again, free entry. Link is down below in the description. Why aren't you taking advantage of it? We also have a $10 free DFS entry for our 100K Week 1 contest. If you haven't signed up for OwnersBox,
awesome.
Go get that done. Excited about the game. You guys are going to love it this season. We'll be playing it and talking about it all year long. Ryan, get us started. 4 guys for you to avoid.
Yeah, first running back. I've been very outspoken about the fact that I don't like this running back, and mainly I don't have any problem with him, actually. It's mainly just the situation he's in, and he's on the New York Jets. I mean, the last time a solid running back on the New York Jets had any sort of fantasy value was probably Le'Veon Bell, and that was at the tail end of his career. So
very short stint.
Very short stint. So the guy is Breece Hall right now. He's going kind of end of the 3rd round. He's still in that RB2 territory. He's going as the RB20 right now. But there's guys that are going after him that I think just provide so much better value. Just frankly, I think their offenses will have a ton more production than this current Jets offense that we're looking at. And, I touched on Le'Veon Bell. I think like Le'Veon Bell or like maybe Isaiah Crowell were like the last guys who had some sort of fantasy production with the Jets.
Was that the team that gave the Browns their first win, right?
Yeah.
Or did they lose? Or did they lose that game?
I'm not sure.
That was the Baker Mayfield. I could be wrong.
The year before Baker?
What Ave wants to say something. What? Yeah, I think it was the Jets that they beat. Yeah,
okay. But so that was the last time that a New York Jets running back had finished inside the RB20, and even years before that, there really wasn't great production.
I'm really forgetting these Le'Veon years. Did he finish as a top 20 running back that season?
Yeah, on 300-plus touches.
Wow. I'm forgetting that completely.
Which is crazy. Like the efficiency, you find other running backs that get 300-plus touches, and their efficiency is much higher. Like his yards per carry was around 3. It wasn't anything special. And he was great when he was on the Steelers. He kind of lost it a little bit, but I think it goes hand in hand with the fact that he was just on the Jets. And they're already starting this year down a little bit with Mekhi Becton officially out for the whole year, which pretty much, again, this guy, so I think he's played like 3 games in the NFL. He was supposed to anchor their line, huge guy on the outside from Louisville. So that's a huge cause for concern for Breece Hall's ability to run the ball. And then there's the emergence of Michael Carter, who was a great receiving back in 2021 for this Jets team. Carter had 4 or 5 weeks where he finished inside the RB15 territory. So I don't think they're just going to give up on him. There's also guys like Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman who will eat into Breece Hall's ability to be a receiving back. And to be honest, I'm a little worried about his wear and tear. This is a guy who's had back-to-back seasons at Iowa State with 300-plus touches. You will see that definitely on some college running backs, but it's very often that you see them jump into the league and produce right away. And I'm not going to read too much into it, but his preseason was horrible. He just averaged just over 2 yards per carry. So just right now where he's going in drafts, I think guys like I'd rather have Travis Etienne, I'd rather have Josh Jacobs, I'd rather have Elijah Mitchell, and honestly, I'd even think I'd rather have A.J. Dillon. So this is a guy that I'm avoiding in my drafts just simply because I think the New York Jets are very unserious about being a good football team.
Yeah, I guess I'm the guy that was early on not wanting to draft this guy. I've kind of changed my stance. I do think that just with the draft capital investment speaks volumes. I think he will earn plenty of opportunity. The question is, of course, with Michael Carter, I don't think Ty Johnson or Tevin Coleman will matter. I'm sure when this video comes out, one of those guys will probably be cut. But I definitely, I don't think the points you're making are invalid at all because the Jets offense is the Jets offense. But I do think that Brees, just with draft capital invested, has the chance to be the 3-down guy because he is a really good pass catcher too. Again, this is the RB dead zone, so he in the RB dead zone, he's one of the guys I'm just willing to take a chance on because typically there's always a rookie running back that finishes top 12, and to me, Brees is the best chance to do that. I guess
his name's either Damian Pierce or Tyler Algier.
If Damian, two guys with just limited zero upside, so I would say I think it's still Brees. I don't love. I guess
but all
the
three.
The basis I don't love the running back.
All three of those teams, to be honest, like if you include the Texans and the Falcons, they're all going to be playing from behind pretty much all the time. So.
Yeah. Exactly. There was a better spot for Brees to be drafted to that would make me think, okay, this guy's definitely going to be a top 12 back. Being the Jets, hard to think that. My guy is Cam Akers. I hate doing this, guys. If you've been watching the show for a long time, you know that I made Cam Akers a guy to trade for in Dynasty if you wanted to win your league this year, and it's all fucking falling apart. It is falling apart. This past week, I've been paying attention more to the injury reports from him because he just hasn't been on the field. He finally got on the field on Monday is what I heard, but I'm not carrying an injury tag into the season. I already have to worry about injuries all the time during the year. I don't want to carry the injury tag into the year. And Cam Akers is dealing with a soft tissue injury. That's all we know. And up until Monday, Sean McVay said he couldn't do a full speed workout. So this is a guy who already holds an injury tag with the Achilles, and he had no efficiency, like legitimately averaged like 2.4 yards per carry in the playoffs when he was back. The only bright spot was, this guy's picking up some targets. There's some pass catching opportunity here. Well, that was because Darrell Henderson was out for the playoffs with injury. Henderson also dealing with a soft tissue injury, but McVay says he's a little farther ahead in the process. So if Henderson is there, it's McVay's kind of been saying a lot of good things about Henderson. If he doesn't have the pass catching upside, and all I have to hinge on with Cam Akers is some rushing volume and touchdown upside, or the opportunity to score touchdowns in the red zone for an offense that passed the ball at a 65% rate, the second highest in the NFL last year in the red zone, there's no way I'm trusting this guy. He's not efficient. He's lacking the explosiveness from injuries, and a soft tissue injury is one that he can easily re-aggravate, and you'll honestly want to pull your fucking hair out because this guy will not be able to play. And I don't need that. I don't welcome that onto my team with, in the case of I'm drafting him knowing this. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've been following the same, I guess, path as you throughout the fantasy offseason.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at his play, he got the ball a decent amount, but you look at his playoff numbers, and they were just not that good.
But that's it's good. You're like, Sean McVay is giving this guy the ball to his fucking detriment. He loves him so much, and so that's a good thing. But at the same time, I just don't want the
maybe
injury,
Sean McVay, he's seen what he's seen now, and now he's like, you know what, I'm done. Kyren Williams season.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I made a TikTok. I was like, maybe Kyren Williams, if these two guys both can't be ready. Kyren Williams was a fun player at Notre Dame. He tested pretty poorly at the combine, but I liked watching him at Notre Dame. He's a pretty good pass catcher too because Notre Dame didn't have many wide receiver options.
Yeah. My second guy is Cordarrelle Patterson. Right now, he's going as the RB31. Later in drafts for sure, around the 7th round or end of the 6th round, early 7th round. There's just been reports, to be honest, throughout training camp. There's a good chance he's going to see a decreased number of touches for a number of reasons. One, his age. He's 30 now, I think pushing 31. Receivers, and he is kind of he came into the league as a receiver. Receivers efficiency drops around 25% in fantasy production after the age of 30. For running backs, I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I'm sure it's got to be higher because running backs, just length of their careers are a lot lower or a lot shorter. Career usage rate, he's bounced around a lot, and he's been, he was a punt returner, kick returner, he's done everything on the field. So wear and tear for sure should be a factor. Marcus Mariota at quarterback as well should be a cause for concern for anyone ordering that owns Cordarrelle Patterson, because running quarterbacks tend to not check down as much, and Cordarrelle Patterson ran that a lot last year with Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan could find anyone, he was easy to be able to find a couple yards off the line of scrimmage or even behind the line of scrimmage. So I don't think that's going to be as much as in Arthur Smith's game plan this year. And the emergence of Tyler Algier and Arthur Smith as their head coach, Arthur Smith was the reason why Derrick Henry had such, like, obviously Derrick Henry's a phenomenal running back, but his system that he implemented in Tennessee was super run heavy. Running downhill is kind of like his thing. Tyler Algier fits that mold much better than Cordarrelle Patterson does. Tyler Algier over the last 2 years in the NCAA had the most yards after contact at BYU. He's like kind of like a muscle hamster. He's really strong. So I could see him giving Tyler Algier a lot more chances on the early downs and seeing Cordarrelle Patterson maybe filter down to that third round back or third down back and just being more of a receiving option. So his ADP isn't crazy right now, but this is a guy that I really don't feel like I'm not going to be on my
wide receivers
roster.
Wide receivers in the spot that Cordarrelle Patterson's going, go wide receiver.
And if you need a running back, like honestly, I'd rather have Devin Singletary's going right after him. I'd much rather Devin Singletary right now. So yeah, that's kind of my thing with Cordarrelle Patterson. His age honestly is the biggest thing for me. I just don't see him being as much of a fact. Like they used him so much last year, and he finished I think is like what, their RB12 or something like that.
Yeah, I think 13.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know off the top of my head.
They used him so much. I just don't see them using him as much this year when they have so many young, exciting weapons. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Tyler Algier maybe can find his way into that class by some way in this season. But yeah, I'm not big on Cordarrelle.
I think that the situation here is someone can say to you, well, look at how Arthur Smith used him. He loves him. But I think the Cordarrelle Patterson usage last year came down to a talent deficiency with the roster.
Yeah,
like
I
Drake
totally
London's
agree.
going to change that, even though Drake London also hurt in the preseason, also a guy I'll probably avoid because he's already dealt with so many injuries in college too. But if those two guys are on the field, they're much more talented than Cordarrelle Patterson. And then, we might be missing out on those rushing carries, which I probably didn't expect too many of them from Cordarrelle Patterson. That's not really his thing, but Algier, like you mentioned. And then this Atlanta Falcons offense is dog shit. This team sucks. It's going to be the worst team in the NFL. I mean, they just keep investing in skill positions with premium picks, and their offensive line and defensive line sucks. Their defense won't be able to get off the field. Their offensive line won't be able to block. So this team will suck. That's kind of how I feel. I don't want anybody.
Their offensive line, I don't think is as bad as you make it sound. In my opinion,
it's great. It was great as the second worst offensive line in
going into this
NFL.
season. The PFF has it ranked 16th.
Why the fuck would they do that? They haven't. I don't even know if they made any additions.
I think they did.
I think Jalen Mayfield is
has Jake Matthews been there for a while now?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry, who's been there. Matt Hennessy's a solid center. But anyway, I totally understand what you're saying. To be honest, taking any player on this offense, maybe other than Kyle Pitts, is a big risk.
Yeah,
so.
The Mariota tight end thing,
Yeah.
completely get. Pitts is still a decent option. Last guy I've got, David Montgomery, going as the running back 18 in the early fourth round right now. Montgomery was undoubtedly a workhorse under Matt Nagy. Fourth in opportunity share, ninth in carries, fifth in red zone touches. But he finished as a top 20. How often do you think percentage-wise? Obviously, I'm putting this in a negative light so you can make a guess, and you probably are going to guess something that will make this not look as cool. But how often do you think David Montgomery was a top 24 back in his starts last year? What percentage?
12.5%. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
That's just
not
not
way too
even
low.
remotely close.
No,
top
way too
24.
low.
So it was 46% of the time, less than half of his games.
Okay, yeah.
But
That was a bad guess.
he had ninth most carries, fourth highest opportunity share, fifth in red zone touches. He got everything, but he was only a top 24 back 46% of the time. And you've got to take him in the fourth round to get him, but he's not going to give you week winning performances, which is what I fucking need if I'm going to take this guy as my RB2 in the fourth round. And then obviously we have the situation here where he's under a new head coach, a new regime. There's going to be question marks of how they're going to use him because Khalil Herbert, 5 starts, he was a top 12 back in 2 of those starts. He was more explosive, more efficient in his opportunities. So why wouldn't Khalil Herbert earn even more opportunity this year? So this isn't a sure thing in terms of this volume, and that's why he's going as early as he is. So I'm not sure that I'm going to be willing to make the investment on a guy that has a really low ceiling and maybe potentially could have a high floor, but we don't know.
Yeah, I agree with this take for sure. I mean, this offense just isn't there yet. It kind of is similar to looking at a similar
100%.
narrative as the Falcons. And we talked about the new head coaching that they brought in.
I think they're going to run the ball. Like Getsy's the OC,
and
right?
yeah, Getsy's OC. That zone style of running, if in my opinion, and from watching the Bears games over the last year, because I did own David Montgomery last year, Khalil Herbert fits that scheme much better than David Montgomery does.
Yeah.
So I could see them being used kind of as a tag team, you know, and a committee, which is just the fantasy owner's absolute worst nightmare. So no, I totally agree with you. I'm not taking him pretty much in any of my drafts this year.
Yeah, I'd rather go with, like you had mentioned with Breece Hall, like a Travis Etienne's available. I'd probably rather go wide receiver like a Terry. There's pretty much anyone in that spot I'd rather go with than Montgomery. He will not be on any of my fantasy teams. All right, 4 guys.
You
guys feel good
to stay away from.
Some of you guys lately have didn't like say there were a lot of back and forth on Saquon. I'd like to see that. That was great. So let us know what you guys think about these guys in the comments. We'll have the wide receiver edition later this week as well. Very excited. Week 1 is very soon, so we'll have some stuff getting ready for week 1 as well. But again, join the giveaway. All you need to do, subscribe to the channel. I don't even think I said all the details of that. Subscribe to the channel, send us a DM on Twitter, or send me a message in our Discord channel. Both of those links are down below in the description. You'll be entered to win $100 of site credit on OwnersBox and a NFL jersey of your choice. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.